CNN's Jim Acosta accuses Trump of pressuring FBI. Sarah Sanders shuts him up for good. By that conservative girl, Politics U.S. News. During Monday's media briefing, CNN's Jim Acosta accused President Donald Trump of pressuring the FBI. However, it wasn't long before White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders shut him up for good. Isn't that something? He's concerned because Trump was pressuring the FBI. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was asked a number of FBI-related questions during the daily media briefing on Monday in the wake of the breaking news that the FBI Director Andrew McCabe would be stepping down early from his post. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, who has been attacked by the President Donald Trump, stepped down Monday. Multiple sources familiar with the matter told NBC News. McCabe will remain on the FBI payroll until he is eligible to retire with full benefits in mid-March. The sources said, no, it will not happen. And he was fired. I don't know why they keep saying that. One source said McCabe was exercising his retirement eligibility and characterized his decision as a stepping aside. Yeah, right. Give me a break. The guy's going to jail. McCabe has been at the center of ongoing tensions between the White House and the FBI and has reportedly been under pressure to quit from Trump, whose presidential campaign is being investigated for possible collusion with Russia. Source NBC News. What else do we expect from them? After a string of recent retirements and firings at the FBI, CNN senior White House correspondent, lovely Jim Acosta, who has had quite a contentious relationship with Sarah Sanders, insinuated that President Trump was putting pressure on the agency. How dare he? I've said probably 100 times before, the White House has been fully cooperative and is going to continue to be fully cooperative, Sanders said in response. We've gone above and beyond many times and done everything we could. However, an unsatisfied Acosta asked again, doubling down on the notion that Trump had applied pressure to the FBI to influence their investigation into Russian collusion. I mean, you got to have a stomach for this, folks. You really do. The only thing the president has applied pressure to is to make sure we get this resolved so that you guys and everyone else can focus on the things that Americans actually care about, Sanders snapped back. And that is making sure everybody gets the Russia fever out of their system once and for all. That really shut them up, that's for sure. That you're all reminded once again there was no collusion, and that we can move forward to focus on things like national security, the economy, and solving the immigration crisis that we have here in our country, she concluded. When Acosta pressed a third time, asking if there was any obstruction, Sanders shut him down hard, saying no. And we've been pretty clear about this. How many times does this woman have to beat a dead horse before these reporters get it through their thick skulls that there was no collusion with Russia? Shortly before today's White House press briefing, it was reported that FBI Director Andrew McCabe would be stepping down from his position. We all know that. Earlier than expected, considering that President Donald Trump has criticized McCabe over the past few months, and there's been a concerted effort by Trump loyalists to discredit McCabe. It was obvious that this news would dominate this afternoon's presser. After telling reporters that the White House wasn't involved in McCabe's ouster, but that the president stands behind his criticism of the now ex-deputy director White House Press Secretary Huckabee Sanders, was pressed further on the issue by Jim Acosta. Let's just take a listen. Oh, it's a 6-minute clip.
News came down in the last hour that the Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, is stepping down. And we get reaction from the White House, and as the President back at the end of December was tweeting about Andrew McCabe in a less than effusive praise manner. What's he thinking about him stepping down?
Look, we've seen the numerous reports, as all of you have, and any specifics, I can tell you none of this decision was made by that of the White House, and any specifics I would refer you to the FBI, who I believe will be making a statement later today.
You say that the White House was not involved in the decision, but clearly the president seemed to be involved in a public relations campaign against McCabe.
Oh, look, the president stands by his previous comments, but in terms of the situation today, as I just said, we've seen the reports just as all of you have. We don't have any specific comments, and I would refer you to the FBI for any specifics on the things that are taking place today. Jill?
So when you say that you've seen the reports, does that mean that the president was not informed by anyone at the FBI?
Let's get to just, that's where I want to go.
Have had any discussions about
Specific to McCabe and his stepping down as of today, if that is what is being reported. Jim?
Sarah, what would you say to critics who believe that this White House and this president have had almost sort of a steady pressure put on the Justice Department, put on the FBI since the president came into office on this special counsel investigation? Whether it be conversations with Jeff Sessions' office about his refusal, whether it be about this desire for Robert Mueller to go away, and now with Andrew McCabe. There were even reports that Rod Rosenstein was also feeling pressure from the White House. It sounds like there are multiple officials at multiple levels who are being pressured by the White House, by the president. What would you say in response to that?
I would say what I've said probably 100 times before, and continue, we'll say I'm sure 100 times today, that the White House has been fully cooperative and is going to continue to be fully cooperative. In fact, we've gone above and beyond many times and certainly done everything that we could. The White House has provided over 20 witnesses and tens of thousands of pages of documents to the special counsel. We have done everything we can to be fully transparent, and we're going to continue to do that throughout the process.
What about this notion that the president has been applying pressure for months, steady pressure?
The only thing that the president has applied pressure to is to make sure we get this resolved so that you guys and everyone else can focus on the things that Americans actually care about. And that is making sure everybody gets the Russia fever out of their system once and for all, that you're all reminded once again there was no collusion, and that we can move forward to focus on things like national security, the economy, and solving the immigration crisis that we have here in our country.
No obstruction of justice, nothing improper, nothing inappropriate here at all whatsoever from the president since he came into office when it comes to this investigation.
No, and I think we've been pretty clear on that.
You were asking the question about all this pressure that has been, in fact, been put on multiple people, as you pointed out, multiple levels of government, right, on DOJ, FBI, and folks central to this investigation. Because she's saying that, you know, all the questions about McCabe, don't ask us, ask the FBI. What did she say about the pressure?
You know, I was just looking at this quote. It's pretty remarkable what Sarah Sanders said. She did essentially say, yes, the president has been applying pressure. She said the only thing the president has applied pressure to is to get it resolved so you guys and everyone else can focus on the things Americans actually care about, making sure everybody gets the Russia fever out of their system once and for all. I mean, that was an acknowledgement there that the president has at times put pressure on officials at the Justice Department and at the FBI. She did not say, no, there's never been any pressure from the president. I mean, that would be denying reality to say that there hasn't been pressure from the president when he's tweeted about the Attorney General, he's tweeted about the Deputy FBI Director. We know there are reports, including from CNN, that he wanted to fire the special counsel Robert Mueller, and so on. And so I think that's a pretty interesting acknowledgement from Sarah Sanders, although what she was trying to say and the way she was spinning it was that, well, this is the reason why the president has been doing this is because there's nothing to see here with the Russia investigation and that we wanted to get it to be done with as soon as possible. That's not how law enforcement investigations work. That's not how special counsel investigations work. There isn't really much you can do as the President of the United States to expedite that kind of investigation. You could try to do what Richard Nixon did during the Watergate era and have a Saturday night massacre of that sort, but as Lindsey Graham and other top Republicans have set up on Capitol Hill, and the Speaker of the House has said this, that the Russia investigation, that the Mueller investigation should go on, that would cause something of a constitutional crisis. And so what we've seen from this president, I think it's pretty clear all along, is just sort of pushing the envelope as far as he thinks it can go And now I think one of the final questions of this Russia investigation that Mueller's going to have to get to the bottom of is whether or not any of those efforts cross the line into illegality that would fall under the heading of obstruction of justice. Now, when I asked Sarah Sanders about that during the briefing, anything improper, anything illegal, any obstruction of justice, she said no on all of those accounts. But of course, that is what you would expect to hear from a White House press secretary, but it hardly puts the matter to rest.
Of course not when you're dealing with CNN. Of course not. President Donald Trump and his entire administration have been nothing but cooperative and transparent. Exactly. Indeed, the mainstream media has wasted an exorbitant amount of time on the Russian collusion story, a narrative which, despite a costly taxpayer-funded investigation, still has not produced any evidence to corroborate the claims that President Trump ever did anything illegal. And these guys are going down, and they're going to go down fast, and I'd like to know what they're going to report upon when they start getting called out on their shenanigans that was taking place for decades in this government. It's going to take quite a bit to drain this swamp, but the absolute bias in the media, it is sickening to watch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again, thank you so much for watching.